Hey everyone, we've been talking about women's stories. We've been sharing women's stories in the month of March, whatever month this is. Month of March, this is the last day of March. And so we like to bring back whatever the topic is we're talking about. We like to bring it back to the Enneagram on the last Wednesday of the month. So today we're going to talk about the Enneagram and iconic women. We're going to just name some women that are different Enneagram types. Now, I haven't interviewed them. Most of them are dead. And I haven't administered any kind of assessment to actually learn this about them. So that's okay. Don't critique me too much on these decisions that I've made about types. But type 1 in the Enneagram is what we call the reformer. Some people have different names for that type, but the reformer, the superpower of the type 1 is that they can make anything better. They can make things excellent. And their motivation, their unconscious, unaware motivation is to improve themselves and others in order for things to be good and right. I would say Michelle Obama might be a type 1. She's an attorney, a former First Lady of the United States, and she advocates for healthy families and to improve, she advocates for higher education. She advocates for education for girls around the globe. And she has said, as women, we must stand up for ourselves and each other. And we must stand up for justice. So stand up for ourselves, stand up for each other, stand up for justice. It seems like she might be a type 1 reformer. The type 2 is the helper. This is the person who can sense other people's needs without being told. Their unconscious motivation is to meet needs of others in order for things to be good. So the person that comes to mind, probably to your mind too, is Mother Teresa. She's the Roman Catholic nun who dedicated her life to caring for the destitute and the dying in the slums of Calcutta. Here's what she said that makes me think type 2. Intense love does not measure. It just gives. So man, every type 2 in the room is going, amen, sister. Type 2's intense love does not measure. It just gives. Now, the type 3 is the achiever. That's the person who their superpower is laser focused. Man, they can get laser focused, and their unconscious motivation is to succeed and avoid failure at all cost in order to experience love. That's what they feel like is going to bring love. I think of Harriet Tubman when I think of this drive to succeed and never fail. Harriet Tubman, she's the abolitionist and political activist. She's the one who ran at least 13 missions that I know of to rescue about 70 enslaved people. She said every great dream begins with a dreamer. So maybe Harriet Tubman's a type 3, an achiever. Type 4 is the individualist. Type 4 is the person who can say clearly what the rest of us wish we could say, what the rest of us can only vaguely feel and understand. But when they say it, we're like, yes. So the unconscious motivation for the type 4 is to be unique. And so to be unique in order to compensate for what she believes is missing. When you think of someone who can say things clearly, I think of Maya Angelou. She's an exquisite poet, right? And a civil rights activist. Here's what she said, and you've heard it quoted. I don't know if you knew it was her, but she said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So she might be type 4. Type 5 is the investigator. Their superpower is objectivity. And their unconscious motivation is to gather up knowledge as a way to kind of fend off the world that drains them. I think of Marie Curie. Marie Curie, how do you say her name? She was the physicist and the chemist who conducted some pioneer research on radioactivity, and she changed our treatment of cancer. She was really the pioneer in that. She said this, nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Boy, that sounds like an investigator, right? That sounds like someone who gathers knowledge to understand. Type 5. So type 6 is the loyalist. This is the person who shows up. Their superpower is to show up, support, and champion their people. And their unconscious motivation is to feel safe, secure, supported by others in order to manage fear. I think of Malala, don't you? Oh man, she's the Pakistani activist who championed female education, man. And she was shot when she was at the age 15 in an assassination attempt on her life. Here's what she said. We were scared, but our fear was not stronger than our courage. Man, this girl knows how to show up, right? Support and champion her people. Type 7, enthusiast. They can liven up any room, bring the joy to anything. Their unconscious motivation is to literally avoid pain, emotional or physical pain, by undertaking the next big thing, the next big adventure, the next big party, the next big thing, conversation, whatever it is. So I think of Amelia Earhart. She's our first female aviator to fly solo across the Atlantic. And here's what she said that made me go, ooh, type 7. When a great adventure is offered, you don't refuse it. Any type 7 would say that. The rest of us wouldn't, but type 7s would be like, yes. Type 8. The type 8 is a challenger. That's the person when they use their superpower for good, man, they'll advocate for others in big ways. And their unconscious motivation is to assert their strength over themselves and others in order to mask some of their own feeling of weakness. So I think of a challenger as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right? Our recently deceased Supreme Court Justice who fought for equality. Here's what she said that made me think, oh yeah, she's a challenger. Fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. She was a challenger, an advocate. Finally, type 9 is the peacemaker. This peacemaker's superpower is that they understand everyone's point of view. Everyone's point of view. And their unconscious motivation is to avoid conflict in order to preserve connection and to maintain peace. I thought of kind of an interesting character for this, an interesting woman, an interesting iconic woman, and that is Jane Goodall. She's the primatologist who studied and lived with chimpanzees for 25 years. Here's what she said that made me go, ooh, she's a type 9. Let us develop respect to all living things. Let us try to replace violence and intolerance with understanding and compassion. That is exactly what the type 9 peacemaker would do. Well, what is fascinating to me about all of this is that every one of these women made an impact, and they did it in different ways, in different settings, in different worlds, and from different perspectives, and from different motivations, with different superpowers. So the point really is that no one gets disqualified. We are all qualified to make an impact regardless of what type we are on the Enneagram. So I'm Michele Gooch with Life by Design. Join me here Wednesdays at 1. We'll talk about a totally different topic in April. But I would love to invite you to a Savvy Women Summit that's coming up April the 21st at 6:30. I'll try to remember to put the information in the comments. But this is my personal invitation to you. If you want to keep moving forward in 2021, this is a 2-hour summit. I'm giving you complimentary tickets too, that you will gain great inspiration, encouragement, and even tips for moving forward. I'll see you next Wednesday.